So I don't think I've ever had a seizure that I'm aware of, except once when I was 16, I hit my head and got knocked out, and my friend CB Coombs was filming and stopped filming because he said I started having a seizure. So that was like traumatic brain injury induced. But May 9th, 2021, Jackie and I were at the beach, the Outer Banks, Outer Banks? Somewhere out in North Carolina beaches on the East Coast, and we were with her family, and at 2:30 in the morning or so, I woke up having a seizure and then kind of came to in the ambulance and then kind of passed out again and woke up in the hospital. And that's what led to an MRI. Thankfully, the hospital in Wilmington had a brand new MRI machine like a week before I was there, and we got a really crystal clear, high-res image of my brain. And
Dr. Q called it the Ferrari
yeah,
of MRI machines.
The Ferrari of MRIs. And it revealed one of the growths that I've been living with right over here in the frontal lobe on the right side had grown to about a golf ball sized mass, and that's what triggered the seizure and why we're here in Jacksonville, Florida at Mayo Clinic to see Dr. Q to have that removed in a couple hours today. And it was a very interesting experience that I talked about on a podcast Jackie and I did titled I Had a Seizure, I think is what we titled it, just bluntly. And what I wanted to share now was, since then, I've had two more. Exactly 3 months later, August 9th, I had another one, and this time I was alone. I was awake. It was late morning, and it was 50 hours after having my last dose of the anti-seizure medication, which I ran out of, and I didn't prioritize getting it refilled. I was just kind of waiting on them to get back to me because I had been told I don't have epilepsy, and I was like, oh, well, I'll be fine. I probably won't have another seizure. Don't worry about it. And it was like me taking like my mindset, which could be a double-edged sword, and I was like using my mindset in an egotistical way, right, and trying to like avoid the fear and the panic. I was like, I'll be fine. And so exactly 50 hours after my last dose, I had a seizure. Now this time, the way it occurred was I went to get our dog Cheddar, and I went to say, let's go, to bring him outside. And I got stuck in this loop of stuttering, saying let's go over and over and over again really fast, and I couldn't move. I was just stuck there. But in my mind, I was coherent, I was present, and I was aware of everything. And I was like, what is happening? And it trips me up sometimes. I wrote about this in a recent Instagram post, Facebook post, whatever you want to call it. Because when your vocal cords vibrate into your jaw when you're speaking, certain words do that more, and a certain string of words in a sentence, it prolongs it. And so there'll be times where I'll be speaking and I feel the vibration and it catches me, and I'm like, oh shit, is this gonna be another seizure? But anyways, that just kept happening, and it kept progressing, and the more I was aware of it and I was trying to say something else or just stop, the more it seemed to progress. And so it was like the mind, the brain, and body were all separate. And it's something that I've learned that's very true, and the reality that we have no control in our lives was really present in that moment, which is something I also believe in to a degree. But in that moment, it showed me the reality that our mind, our brain, and our body are completely separate, and that we have no control. And this was another example that we have no control really in our lives, because in my mind I was seeing everything, I was aware, and I was trying to say something or to move. And then as that progressed, I felt my head just kind of going like this, just like I explained in the podcast we did about the first seizure. But I was laying down in my sleep or on the bed, and I just got stuck there. But this time I was standing, and as it went like this, my body followed, which is a rule or a phrase we have in BMX: wherever your head goes, the body follows. And so when you're trying to learn 360s, people will try to like turn their body, but they keep their head straight. And we're like, no, turn your head and your body will go that same way. And so what happened was I was stuck like this, just stuttering this loop of these two words over and over again. And then as this happened, I just started just slowly spinning around, just in the same place. And then in my mind, I'm like witnessing all this, and I'm like, I'm not really freaked out, but I'm kind of like, just like, what the hell is going on? There's no pain, there's nothing. It's just like this uncontrollable loop of these two words. And then I just start turning, and I'm literally just turning in place, just just spinning. And then in my mind, I'm like, okay, you're gonna have convulsions, like a full-on seizure soon. You need to lie down. And the last thing I remember before I blacked out was as I was turning, I was slowly getting lower to the ground, and then I woke up, and I don't even remember where I woke up. I just remember waking up and then going into the bathroom because I felt nauseous, like the first time I had a seizure, and I was sweating, and I was sweating so bad. I thought before Jackie got home, I thought I had showered. It was that bad, and I didn't shower, at least at that time. And so that was the second one, and that was because I cold turkey cut off my anti-seizure medication. Whether you have seizures or epilepsy or not, cold turkey cutting that can trigger a seizure. And so I learned the hard way there. And then it was the 24th in the morning. I didn't sleep well. My mind was kind of racing, no pun intended. And about 6:30, I woke up, and I was thinking, I was like, man, did I take my seizure medication last night? I think I may have missed it. And then I sat up, and I went to tell Jackie, that's where I got caught saying I think again, that loop of stuttering, I think, and I went to say, I think I forgot to take my meds last night. And as soon as I started to say that, I think, it just stopped, and it just kept stuttering this loop of I think. And Jackie was alert, awake. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm not afraid. I know what's happening. There's no pain. And I was trying to communicate that with her. And so not the last thing, I remember the whole thing, but the next thing I remember was I went to put my hands up like this because I was trying to say, like, I'm fine. But I got stuck saying, I think. And so I started to shift the two words that were loop over and over again to other things, because I was trying to say, like, I'm not in pain, don't worry, I'm not afraid, like, I think I need to take my medication, and none of that was coming out. That was on my mind.
Yeah,
so
it went from, like, I think to I just to I need.
Yeah, I was trying to say I just need to take my medication.
Yeah, so it was switching. After the first 20 seconds, he seemed to have a little bit more control over what was going on. So it was interesting because I could see the cognizance behind his eyes. Like, I knew he was still, like, able to focus, and that he was looking at me and able to, like, he was trying to communicate with me. And it was funny because I was just like, okay, like, we're just gonna lay back, you're okay. I was worried he was gonna start convulsing again, so I was just trying to get him to slow down. And I was like, just stop trying to talk, like, just stop trying to talk, you're gonna be okay. And then he started laughing.
Well, before that, I was in my mind, I was like, I obviously can't say what I want to say, so I was putting my hands up like this because I wanted to be like, I'm fine. And then that wasn't working. My hands were up, and I was just doing this, but, like, stuttering this loop of these two words over and over again. And then I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, I want her to know that I'm not in pain and I'm not afraid, so just start laughing. And then you can explain what that sounded like.
It was not reassuring whatsoever. It was so creepy. It was the creepiest thing because he just tried to, like, chuckle a little bit, so he got caught in a loop of this weird, like, monotone laugh. So he was like, ha, 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 ha. And I was like, ugh. Like, I didn't say anything in that moment, but it was super, like, robot, creepy, horror movie kind of thing. And that's when I yelled. I was like, I'm gonna go get your med. Like, just stop trying to talk. And then we laid him down, and he was able to control his body, so he, like, put a foot out.
No, I never laid down. I sat up.
What? No, you laid down. I laid you down.
Well, I think I sat back up when you were gone.
Okay, well, that's not the part of the story I'm talking about right now. You put a foot out because I was like, I want to make sure that he feels okay and that it was slowing down and not progressing. And I went and got his medication and a glass of water. And by the time I came back, he was not caught in any kind of loop. Actually, I heard him because our bedroom is right outside the kitchen.
Yeah, bedroom's here, the dining room's here, the kitchen's here, and the guest room's on the other side.
Yeah, that's not relevant. I could hear him from the kitchen saying something along the lines of, oh, I think it stopped, or, oh, it's not happening anymore. And he wasn't, like, he stuttered a little bit, but he wasn't caught in any kind of loop. And by the time he took his medication, it was already done. And the whole thing lasted less than 90 seconds, 2 minutes. It wasn't anything crazy, and he wasn't in any kind of pain.
Yeah, I realized during when you got up to leave, I realized, okay, like what you were saying, like the more I try to like speak and say a sentence, even there, I just triggered like, oh, the more I tried, the worse it got. And so then when I was like, okay, just don't talk, which I could control that at this point, which is really weird because I was like in this limbo of like not having a seizure, but having a seizure, technically having a seizure. But I was able to pull myself out of it just by, I think because this time it was 24 hours since the last dose I had because I just missed the night before. Not intentionally, I forgot to take it. I thought I took it. The second time back in August 9th, so 2 weeks prior, it was 50 hours. So I think that's why I had a little bit more sense of control. But the more I told myself, just don't speak, everything was fine. I just sat there just waiting for her to get back, and I was like, okay. And then she gave me my medicine. I just like took it and just like slowly drank water, and I was like,
and then he was
okay.
back to normal within 10 minutes, 20 minutes, like didn't feel weird or anything like that. So, which is really cool because I feel like the first seizure, it took hours for him to recover. And I mean, that was a bad one. That was really, really bad. Like I called 911. And then the second seizure, I had just landed on a plane in Daytona, and I just had my mom go over because she was going to get there before I was, having to get my luggage and take an Uber and stuff like that, and didn't feel the need to call an ambulance or anything. And this one, it was like no recovery time whatsoever, just right back to it. So the big thing is that the tumor is located in the frontal lobe, which is a huge part of motor control. So these seizures are very much motor control. Like his brain, and I shouldn't say his brain, like he's cognizant and he's aware. Like it's not anything, there's no heart rate issues, there's no issues with him breathing and stuff like that. It's motor control. So it's a lot of like uncontrolled limb movement or speaking, and it seems to mostly be speaking with him. So
yeah. So that was the morning before we came out here for pre-ops on Tuesday, and been taking my meds. And
I mean, we called and told his doctors.
Yeah,
but
so we've been good now, and in 3 hours will be the surgery. So yeah, looking forward to
it's game day.
Getting in there, getting this thing taken out, getting back to normal, getting back to lifting. I haven't exercised in over 3 months because obviously it's not going to be a fun time having 200, 300 pounds on your back on a barbell and having a seizure and getting stuck under that.
Neither of us have.
So
like solidarity. So
yeah,
we're gonna get home and take the next
build a home gym.
5 weeks, to build a home gym in the garage, and then we'll get back to it.
Yeah, get back bowling and golfing. I've been able to golf since the seizure. Actually, I was able to bowl the whole time too. I remember the weekend after that seizure, I went and flew out to Mass to go join my dad in a state tournament. We ended up getting like 6th or 7th place, something like that overall. Like I don't know how many teams, but 2 weeks after that, bowling leagues all ended, and I just did a couple more tournaments. And then through the move, I just been golfing like once a week, twice a week, and so I'm really looking forward to getting back bowling. I'm gonna get a coach for bowling and golf, and just take a year and invest time and money into either one of them, and just see which one after a year I excel at more, and not stop the other one, but invest fully into that one and have that be something I can put my energy and competitive energy into and progress with, rather than, it's been 17 months now since I've ridden my BMX bike, which I'm thankful I made that decision because throughout the first brain tumor experience, I rode X Games with that thing. I was getting concussions, I was flipping, spinning, and never had a seizure. Don't know how. Probably because the location was over here rather than like over here in my frontal lobe. So I'm just really looking forward to getting back training for something, competing at something, along with running my business and some other things that I'll be sharing that we're in the midst of creating and launching. And so it's just an exciting time. And I spoke about planning a wedding, which we'll be planning that. We're looking at like a little under a year and a half out.
Yeah.
So that way everyone, because we don't know what's going on with the pandemic and flights and people's health and all that, so we want to, take some time to see how that unfolds, and then also give everyone time to plan now that we're living in Florida. But yeah, just really excited for this surgery, and I'll be awake, which is another interesting thing. I don't think I mentioned that in the other video, but I will be awake for this, and it allows Dr. Q to be more aggressive with his approach, and there's a couple other small masses in there that he's going to try and take out as well, so to keep me awake, to be able to communicate with me, and be able to do different things to make sure they're not messing up anything while they're in there.
Yeah.
So just really looking forward to getting this over with, and
I mean, death is a risk in brain surgery, of course, but it's a smaller risk in comparison to waking up with deficits. So the fact that they're going to be able to monitor that, especially being in the frontal lobe, and it's abstract thought, and it's impulse control, and it's, motor function, like those are big areas I was really nervous about. He could wake up and be a different person, so that was something that was my fear. And then hearing that he was going to be awake, and that they were going to monitor it and talk to him throughout the entire thing, and use electrical impulse to monitor which part of the brains were activating which things, if anything elicited pain or any kind of changes. That was a huge weight off my shoulders. As weird as it sounds, I'm really thankful he's going to be awake while they are poking around up there, because it makes this feel safer, actually.
Yeah. And it's a cool experience to talk about and to go through. So leave it to me to go through all these interesting life experiences that majority of people won't, and to be able to talk about and share. And again, I want to inspire people from the lens of my life, and allow people to kind of take from my journey and apply it to their lives without having to maybe go through some similar traumatic experiences, and to be as happy and healthy and successful as anyone possibly wants. And that's the life I've been living, and I've been sharing, and this is just another one of those steps and opportunities to practice that more and to share that with others. So wherever you're listening or watching, I appreciate you, and definitely appreciate Mayo Clinic and Dr. Q and the team. Obviously appreciate now my fiance Jackie, my friends and family, anyone that's watching or that's reached out. I love and appreciate all of you, and we'll be talking to you, and whenever you watch this, probably after that, so sometime in the future, because this will probably be coming out sometime in the future from this current moment. But yeah, all right, we're out.